with our host, Bunny, our resident host and sex expert.
We drank a lot last night. It may.
I have one line to read, and I botched it.
It's okay. I think you're doing great. Oh my goodness, too funny. Good morning, and welcome to the Bunny Show. I am excited that you are here. We're going to talk about some great things today. We're going to talk about social circle dating. We're going to talk about making sure that you are having the best relationship possible, whether you're already in a relationship or just for future reference for whenever you get into a relationship that you actually want to last. And also we've got some good questions in the queue. Good morning, Renee. We've got some great questions in the queue, and welcome yours as well. So we're going to just jump right in. First and foremost, social circle dating. Man, I kill no time. I'm like, we are not chatting.
We're not good at.
We're not here for small talk. We're here to get down to business. Social circle dating. What I want to do first, because it's interesting to me how I think people's view of social circle is a little bit different. So for one person commented on Twitter the other day about social circle essentially being frat time, college years. And really, social circle game extends far into adulthood. So yes, it is any kind of social group that you hang out with, anything that you, a group of people that you spend time with aside from school, work, your jobs, your church, anything that is a group that you're hanging out with on a usual basis, on a normal basis, aside from your mandatory time together, okay? So yes, fraternity, sorority kind of connections count. Job people count. Church friends count. Any of these people that you are hanging out with outside of that scheduled time is your social circle. Social circle can also include your parents. Doesn't that sound sexy? But you could be a part of your parents' social circle. So if they are strong connectors within their community, if they've lived somewhere a long time, you and your parents' friends' other kids are also in their social circle. So the interesting thing about social circle dating, listen, we need to play a drinking game because I'm going to say social circle a lot. There's just no better way to say it. So just prepare the next 10, 15 minutes. I'm going to say it about 2,000 times. I apologize in advance. The thing about social circle game is that you have to be on better behavior. Whether you know everyone or know the person that you are targeting to try to date or to hit on, whether you know them directly or you know them indirectly through others within your social circle, you need to be on better behavior. There's a reason that in the old days, before all of these modern times that we're living in now, that people were introduced to one another through connections, through family friends, through social circle. It was because you are on better behavior. You knew that you were going to be answering to other people about this meeting, and everyone is vouching for one another or telling the truth about kind of warning signs or things to consider whenever it comes to these people. So unlike the anonymity of online dating, social circle game is a lot higher level people. You know that number one, they already run in your circles, which can be a very good thing. You know that they already have the same kinds of expectations. They usually have kind of similar viewpoints on things. There are a lot of things that kind of you get to navigate, my goodness, we drank a lot of whiskey last night, that you can circumnavigate through social circle connections, that you have to kind of learn slowly in online dating or in, blind date kind of situations. So it can be really great because you already have all of these built-in connections. But because of that, you also need to make sure you are on your best behavior. So I'm going to kind of walk through if there is a social circle girl that you are wanting to date, kind of how to escalate within your social circle. Number one, something to remember is not to swoop in on every new single girl that you come across. It's everyone else is doing it. So that is not differentiating you from every other man who blows up her DMs as soon as it becomes known that she's single. It's just a bad idea. It makes you seem desperate and it makes you seem just thirsty. You're like a thirsty orbiter. So whenever a girl is newly on the market, whether she just had a breakup, a divorce, any kind of things like this, there is a tendency by men of all echelons to start kind of gushing, oh, I've always been so attracted to you. You've always, I've always wanted to date you. Don't do that. It is a massive turnoff, even if she's always wanted to date you. It is a massive turnoff. It's kind of like creepy stalker vibe, even though you already know one another. So just even if you think it, don't say it. Don't ever say it to her. So what I want you to think about instead of gushing is erring on the side of boldness, but also kind of being an international man of mystery. Kind of bring up your Bond vibes here. So whenever you are wanting to swoop a social circle girl, the best way to do it is to be a bit mysterious. Instead of asking her out, say, let's go fill in the blank. Let's go see this art show Friday at noon. It looks like a good show, whatever. There's a festival in town. Why don't you and I go to it? As if you're hanging out, as if it's a hangout. Let her imagination work in your favor. Let her not really know if this is a date or if this is just you guys hanging out as friends. It works in your favor because then for the day or two or week until you attend this event together, she's thinking in her head whether she wants it to be a date or not. This works in your favor. So she kind of works through a lot of the mental trash before you even get in front of her. It works out really, really well. A girl's imagination can be your biggest ally or your biggest enemy, depending on how you play this. So err on the side of being mysterious and keeping her guessing in the way you tell her that you're going to do something or invite her to something. But do not ask her out on a date. Do not ask for permission to take her out. Do not act like you're a 14-year-old, going to her father and saying, may I please date your daughter? Say, hey, why don't you and I go to blah, blah, blah on this date? I'll pick you up at this time. And leave it at that. And then allow her imagination to work in your favor. When you pick her up that day, then you're going to bring out a bit of boldness. So you can let her imagination work in your favor, and that She doesn't know if it's a date. But then once you're out together, show some boldness. Grab her hand and lead her through a crowd. Grab her hand and direct her where you want to go. Friends don't hold hands. It doesn't happen. So when you hold her hand, that makes a connection. That sparks something within her. And then she says, oh, this is a date. And then she acts accordingly. If she pulls her hand away, that's maybe a sign to you that maybe she was hoping this wasn't a date. Do that twice. If she pulls her hand away, go for it again at another time, a few minutes later, 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later. Grab her hand again to lead her somewhere. If she pulls away a second time, that's your sign. This is not a date. This is not a girl who is interested in dating you. And have a friend time, then cut the date off and go on, because it's not a date. Whenever that's her, what is it that we were saying the other day? Two no's is no. Don't continue to push, because then you get creepy vibes. But if she does not pull her hand away, err on the side of boldness when you go in for a kiss. No timidity whatsoever. Whether it means you grab the back of her neck and pull her to you, that's a really good way to go in with boldness for a first kiss, especially in a social circle kind of situation, because it leaves nothing to the imagination of what you want in a relationship with her. But whenever you are timid in your kiss, it will turn her off, because it makes it feel like you don't really know if you want to date her yet or not either. So go in. If you're going to go for a kiss, go for the kiss. If she turns her head or if she pulls away from you, that's also a signal that even after this lovely time that you've just had, that she doesn't want to date. That's not a good sign. So, cut it off. Don't be offended. Don't be butthurt. Act like it never happened. Make a joke of it. Can't hurt to try. Play it off and go on. Now, the next thing that I'm going to say is going to go against most everything else we ever say. Because in social circle game, I suggest that first date not trying to go in for the fuck clothes. And there are a couple of reasons for this. Hear me out. This truly goes against everything we always talk about. Because in social circle, you need to be on your best behavior. In those circumstances, fucking on the first date or fucking in a drunken rage at a wedding or something like that, after everybody getting drunk and you and a social circle girl end up hooking up at the end of the night. That's more of like one night stand behavior when it's within a social circle. Everybody gets embarrassed. Everybody essentially knows about it. That is college frat boy behavior. That's not adult behavior in these situations. So you've approached with boldness. You've held her hand. You've approached with boldness. You've kissed closed. I suggest, because she did not know that your social circle date was a friend date or a romantic date, she may not be fully prepared for the date. And by saying this, I mean, you may get resistance from her if you try to fuck close a social circle friend, because she hasn't fully shaved like she would for a date. She's just maintenance kind of right now. She may not have her nails done. She may not have her toes done. She may not, just all of the steps that girls take whenever they are sure they are going to have sex that day are different from their everyday maintenance kind of preparation. So, just be aware that if you go in for a social circle fuck close, it may turn because it's a little too much too soon, and you need to err on the side of good manners and better behavior. It's think of social circle game when it comes to fuck closing as being similar to the Jumbotron test with texting. Everyone's going to know about it. So it's better to let her not guess that it was actually a date, but not go all the way into, home base or whatever on the first date. Let her enjoy the date. Let me make sure I'm not missing anything in my little notes that I do suggest that even though you're not going in for the fuck close, that you treat social circle girls a little bit better than the strangers that are online dating meetups. So go ahead, and if the date has gone well, if she understands that it's a date, if she kisses you back, if she's leaning into the kiss, if she's as hungry for it as you are, read all of these signs that she's giving you. If she's reaching out and touching you, if she's grabbing hold of your arm, these are all great indicators of her interest. Go ahead and schedule the next date and make it a date. Make it a date that you are planning on fuck closing, because now that door has been opened and you have the familiarity of being social circle. You have the first date under your belt, so there's none of the 3-date rule. It's all taken care of. You've got the familiarity, you've got the date, and now you're going to have a second date there where you can fuck close without her having buyer's remorse or the guilt associated with it, because there's familiarity already. So social circle girls are really great because they're already in your sphere. They're already familiar. They're great because they often share belief systems and understandings and socioeconomic standing like you do. So it's a really great pool to choose from. But number one, don't gush over them. Don't swoop in as soon as they're single, professing your never-ending love for them. This always ends in failure. It's almost never a good idea. Even if you get married, oftentimes, the more times, I've actually known couples who were social circle, who as soon as they were both available, they got together, professing their never-ending love for one another, got married, and then every time they told that story, it was almost like they lost a little bit of interest for one another because they had this idea in their head of what this person was like far before they married them and found out. And so the walls just come crumbling down, and it's just not a healthy way to be. Social circle dating is a long game plan. I want to encourage you to do it because it's a great pool to choose from, but do it with caution and follow these steps that I've lined out, and I think that you will win. Speaking of winning, the second thing that I really want to talk about is probably one of my ultimate passions, and that is making sure that you have the best relationship ever. I want you guys to win, whether you are in a relationship right now and want it to be amazing, or whether you just keep this for future reference and want to make sure that you don't fuck it up. There are 7 steps that I want you to keep in mind in making sure that you have the best relationship ever. Number 1, never stop dating. And by saying that, I'm saying never stop putting in the effort for one another. Whenever you are first dating, you're thinking about things to do together. You're thinking about things that she will enjoy and that you will enjoy. You're thinking about making sure that your appearance and manicuring is all on point. If you need help in this area, for Worth Playboys, basic training is a great tool to use in just remembering the things that keep men in check, even through this process. Okay, so how to dress, how to manicure, how to make sure you're thinking about things that maybe men in long-term relationships start to forget. Women start to forget stuff too. It's just that this book is specific to men. So I want you to pick that up if you haven't already. He's also working on book number 2 right now, which is pretty great. But never stop dating. Never stop putting in effort. Never stop thinking creatively about things to do together. What my rule of thumb has always been, never do anything within the initial stages of dating that you're not willing to continue forever, essentially. So continue putting in effort. Don't do things on the front end that you're not willing to continue. So the worst thing in the world to hear a wife or husband say is, we used to do blah, blah, blah all the time, and we haven't done it in 5 years. You know, it's kind of a kick in the teeth when there used to be effort put out and it's not there any longer. So you think, is it because of something I did? Is it because he's lazy? Is it because I'm not enough anymore? Is it because he wishes that he hadn't married me? Is it because on and on and on? These are the mental games that we play all the time with ourselves. So don't do that. Never stop dating your wife. Number 2, stay trim and healthy. I want you, not only for the sake of your own health, but for the sake of your quality of life and your desire, I want you to stay trim and healthy, and encourage your partner to do so as well. Because everyone is more desirable, everyone is more confident, everyone has more energy, everyone has more fun when you are healthy and you have healthy habits. It is just across the board, your quality of life is better whenever you are healthier. So I want to encourage that. Also, quick shout out. I see that Jeff Erno is on. Thank you for signing up for my VIP membership. You are awesome, and I appreciate you very much. Number 3, don't put your kids or your parents ahead of your relationship. I get a lot of pushback on this one, but I need you to hear me out. It is critical to the health of your relationship to remember that whether you already came to this relationship with children, or if you are doing it the classic way of meeting, dating, getting married, buying the house, having the children, and all that, that you remember that you two choose one another and that you are supposed to be each other's primary concern. So that is not to say that when blood, broken bones, and fire are happening that you ignore those if you know your wife wants to talk about her feelings. This is talking about on average, you need to make sure that you are prioritizing your relationship ahead of other things. Again, short of emergencies, there are always going to be phases of your life when you are in that middle place where you're raising children and raising your parents. You know, things like this happen, and it's they're unfortunate blips in our kind of emotional energy. But the bottom line is, if you will prioritize your relationship, if your parents, if your siblings know that I'm not going to badmouth my significant other to you because that's my priority person, that your children see that you love and respect your significant other, it goes a long way in making sure that your relationship is healthy, and strong and lasts a long time. Encourage one another. So along those lines, but a little bit different. Encourage one another in your pursuits, in your sex life, in your health and wellness, in all areas of life. Be one another's biggest cheerleaders. I don't mean this to sound like I'm trying to steal your man card to the men out there, but there are ways that you can encourage one another without gushing over one another and what they're doing. I heard a great podcast. It was, the podcast was named Modern Wisdom. It was the first time I had ever heard this particular podcast, but I jumped on because I recognized Adam Lane Smith from Twitter. And so I always appreciate what he puts out. He is a psychologist and family therapist, great marriage counselor, and he's now kind of worked his way into applying that to the dating sphere. It was a great interview. Fort Worth put the link in the description box, so I appreciate that. It's a great, he lifted up something really interesting that it's kind of one of those things that you think about but that you had never really put words to before. And I'm not quoting directly, I'm paraphrasing. Women are nurturers, they're caretakers, they're emotional people, where men are action takers. So in relation to encouraging one another, I thought that this was especially insightful because men are driven to action. So the best thing that a woman can do is accomplish a shared goal with him, work on a project together, do something, even if it's him saying, I'm going to give you 10 orgasms, and she's like, I'm in, let's do it. This shared experience, this shared goal, this shared high five is what gets men excited. So the best thing that a woman can do is accomplish something with him. The best thing a man can do, because women are nurturers, we're emotional, we're caretakers, is allow us to say, how was your day? And have you actually answer us, even if it's complete fabrication. Because, you know, when she says, what are you thinking about right now? And 9 times out of 10, men will say, nothing, I'm not thinking about anything. The best thing that you can do is come up with something, because that's how she is nurturing and caretaking and emotional and creating that connective bond with you. So allow her to ask you questions, ask her how her day is. Allow her to ask what you're thinking, and every once in a while you actually give her an answer. Sometimes ask her what she's thinking. And then answer without judgment and without trying to fix it, because she doesn't want to fix, she really just wants you to listen. So these things are ways that we can encourage one another. Listen, it sounds drab, but it goes a long way in creating a strong bond that leads to great sex and leads to a great connection with your partner. And it doesn't mean that you have to sit in a bubble bath 24/7 and listen to her feelings. It just means that on occasion, take time to actually connect emotionally with your girl and invite her to achieve things with you. It goes a long way for both of you. The next one, don't take your phones to bed. We are ultimately the worst at this, okay? Make no mistake. You guys see us tweeting around the clock. We have our phones with us all the time. But whenever you take your phones to bed, it is an emotional distraction. It's a distraction from the person that you are prioritizing. This ranks right up there with having a television in the bedroom, which I'm also vehemently opposed to. So anything that you can do to, especially in the bedtime times, to have connection and not pull away from one another is best. A lot of people will bring the phones to the bedroom in under the guise of it being that's our alarm clock. This is what I sleep with. I'm just checking this real quick. But it turns into an attention suck that lasts 20, 30, 45 minutes. And before long, you're so brain mush that you have nothing left when you finally turn to your partner and want to focus on her. There's nothing left. There's no connection left. That moment's been broken. So the best thing that you can do is, if you have to have your phone in the bedroom, or you just can't stand not to have a television on at bedtime, is watch something together. Do something together. The best thing that Fort Worth and I can do is, whenever I'm like, he's laying down and I'm like snuggled up to his chest, he's got his phone out, we're scrolling Instagram or whatever it is together. We're laughing at things together. We're talking about things that we see together. Then at least, if you have to have your phone there, if you just can't think of anything to say or do other than be on your phone in bed, then at least you're doing that together. Watch a show together. If you've got a television and you just can't not watch The Late Show before bed, do it together. Don't allow the disconnect to happen in the bedroom. That's the worst place in the world for there to be disconnect. So if you're in your sacred space, which is your bedroom, make sure that you are connected while you're there. And last but not least, never, ever, never stop fucking. Keep that sexual connection strong from day one. Make sure that you know that it's a priority. Make sure that you are prioritizing it. Make sure that you know that your significant other, that your wife, that your partner knows that sex is an important part of your life and your connection, and that it's going to be there whether she's in the mood or not. She's going to bring it, whether she thinks she wants it or not, because listen, everyone feels better after they've had sex. It's like exercise. You may not always feel like doing it. You always feel better after you have. Also, remember that sexual connection is the only thing that differentiates you from being roommates. And a lot of times roommates don't even get along all that well. Whenever your sexual connection is strong, you can face family challenges, you can face child rearing challenges, you can face job challenges more united. Because when there's a sexual connection, you stand united against so many other factors of the world that are trying to attack. It's just the best way to go, to always have a strong sexual connection. Now, for me, that means daily sex, multiple times on days when I'm really lucky. For you, that may be just regular sex, just being able to count on the sexual attraction being there when you want it. So whether that's twice a week, 3 times a week, 1 time a week, once, 4 times a month, whatever your need and desire is as the man of the relationship to direct, that's how much sex you need to be having. But make sure that it's clear that it's a priority in your world. So I'm just going to go through that one more time. My best relationship tips, whether you are not in a relationship right now but would like to be and want a fireproof marriage, or whether you are currently in a long-term relationship or marriage. Number 1, never stop dating. Never stop putting out effort. 2, stay trim and healthy. Keep yourself and your quality of life strong. 3, don't put your kids or your parents ahead of your relationship. 4, encourage one another. 5, don't take your phones to bed. And 6, I thought there were 7. I guess I'm hallucinating.
Yeah,
7, never stop dating. Never stop fucking. If you are feeling like the bedroom has become kind of a drab, dark place where there is no sexual connection, I can help you with that. Fort Worth has already put the link to Fuck Like a Porn Star in the chat, but then it's also in the comment section below. So anywhere you are, check that book out. It is meant to, number one, not turn your wife off if she sees it, because there's nothing pornographic in it, photograph-wise. Also, it is written to her as well. So there are sections that are written to women as well as to men. And there's a lot of different impositions in all kinds of different areas of leading to having a strong sex life that play into her needs as well as his, and I cover both of those in this book. So Fuck Like a Porn Star, the hot sex triple play is also in there. That is Fuck Like a Porn Star, Make Her Squirt, and the Threesome book all together. So it's a great bundle if you want a little extra spice to your life. Whoo! I think the alcohol's seeping out. Now we are going to get to the questions, and I've got one right in front of me that Fort Worth got in his DMs, and I think is a really good one. How to handle women who bring up politics, whether it is on first dates, on dates, or even in like the dating apps, you know, where they're clearly like pushing for political, their political opinions or agendas. And I say, if you are also very politically driven, if you are actively involved in social and political causes, then that's probably a pretty good match for you. Whether you agree across the board or not, it may not be a turnoff. But if you are not, it's kind of a vibe killer for her to come in with guns blaring and picket signs. That's essentially like what you're looking at. And so if she comes at you with her political agendas and her political opinions right off the bat, and it's a turnoff for you, I suggest, number one, if it's on the app, just ignore and pass, you know, swipe left if it's not an important thing for you. If you're in front of her on a first date, treat it as if the date went south in any other way. Because if it's a vibe killer for her to bring up her political views right then and there on the front end, then it's something that she rants about often, because she's bringing her best behavior to a first date. And if she's bringing this up, that's a red flag. If it's not something that you're interested in, then I suggest you go ahead and close out the date. Ask for the check, pay the check without looking, and say, I hope you've had a great time. It was nice meeting you. Be safe getting home. And, you know, exit stage left. Because if it's a vibe killer for you to have this girl bring her political views to you, and it's not, either it's not aligned with what you believe, or you just don't want to have a lifetime of talking about politics, you know, with this girl, or whatever the latest social injustice is that she's on the bandwagon about, then that's never going to go well. You might as well end it as soon as you see that red flag. Do you have anything to add to that, babe? Can you think of anything? Yeah. I mean, if it's your vibe, great. If it's a vibe killer, just go ahead and end the date. That's okay. She'll know why. And if it's that important to her, then she wants someone who shares her same viewpoints also. So it's a win-win on both sides if you just go ahead and close the date out. Now, I will say, if you're already in relationship with someone, oftentimes they may kind of get blips of social injustice, political, you know, opinion and things like that. For the most part, women are very good at mirroring their significant others' opinions, likes and dislikes, and social stances. But every once in a while, she'll kind of get a
Wild hair.
yeah, wild hair. That's what I'm going for, and try to get on a bandwagon. If it's something that does not align with your beliefs and your leading, you need to squelch that pretty quickly. Honey, we don't have time. We don't have time for that nonsense. You know, however you need to do it to make it seem like a silly little thing, do that. Because otherwise it's going to take her time and attention. Honey, you're too busy with kids to worry about that silliness. I need you to get my dry cleaning and turn off the news. Whatever it is, squelch it or it will ruin your life. It's not worth it. Your relationship, your family, and your home happiness and sanity is much more important than whatever the latest social trend is that she is wanting to get on the bandwagon about. So if you're already in a relationship and she's bringing up vibe killers like social injustices that are not of interest to you, political injustices that she, that some of her friends or social circles are trying to really get on board behind, and if it goes against what you believe and what your family needs, squelch it immediately. Are there any other questions that we need to discuss? This has been a great broadcast. I appreciate you. I appreciate Worth Playboy for being the best darn producer on the planet that I've ever had. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for those who are watching after the fact. And thank you for participating in the comments always. I love seeing all of the comments and conversation happening behind the scenes as well. It's really great. I appreciate you. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate you for tuning in today and every week. Sundays, 10 a.m. Central, Bunny Church. I like it. Thank you so much and have a wonderful day.